Hey guys, what's up? Tamara here. Today I'm going to do a review of the audiobook If I Stay by Gayle Foreman. I actually listened to this in December and let's just say it was okay. So I know a lot of people loved this book, and a lot of people went to see this movie. So at the end I will talk about the movie. I did take time out to watch it after I finished with the book, and so if you're curious to see what I thought about the movie, just stay tuned to the end and you'll hear what I have to say on that. So let's jump right on in. If I Stay is a young adult title. It's a very serious book. It has a really serious undertone to it. It's about a young girl named Mia, and she and her family have been in a horrific car accident, and as a result her family all have passed away. She is left behind in our world, and she has 24 hours basically to decide if she wants to stay in this world or if she wants to leave. So this book takes place over, I think, 24 hours, I believe, from the point of the accident, and throughout this time we get flashbacks of her previous points of time in her life. We get to see periods of her life that affect her and ultimately help her decide whether she wants to stay or go. Now that's one thing that I liked about this book, is the serious tone. It's been a very long time since I've read or listened to a book, especially a young adult book, that had such a serious tone. I know I said serious tone like 10 times already, but that's what it is. I mean, this is about death and wanting to find something to live for and family, and you know, it's just a sad story. Now I like that part. Now what I didn't really like is the pacing. I found it to be a little bit slower than I would have liked. I understand that there's not a whole lot of action going on in this type of story, but that also makes me feel that the characters weren't quite strong enough to pull it off completely. Or, you know, like, I liked Mia as a character. She was young, she's smart, she's talented, you know, she's a strong girl. But I think I had problems with other characters in the book that kind of brought down, you know, the complexity of the story. Like her parents seemed more like her friends than parental figures. I did like that we got to see her interact with her boyfriend, her friends, her brother, her grandparents, you know, different things, which were all good. But you know, overall it was a little slow, and that's a major problem for me. While the book in itself was not very long, it was still slow. And you know, like I mentioned, I listened to this on audio, so I got to listen to a new narrator that I'd never heard before. And I'm always leery when it comes to narration of young adult books, because I really hate when a narrator comes off sounding whiny or crybaby-like, or just too young for the character. But that's not the case here. I think the narrator did a really good job with Mia's voice, with some of the men, her father, her grandfather's voice. She did okay with that. But even with the narrator, it did not help the pacing at all. So sometimes I find that an audiobook will help a slow book when you're reading it, but in this case it did not help it very much. So would I recommend this? Sure. You know, if you read a lot of young adult and you would like to read something a little bit different than what you've been reading, absolutely check this out. It's definitely worth the read. So with that said, what would I rate If I Stay? I would rate it 3 out of 5 bookmarks. Again, the story was interesting. I like the premise of you know, going through self-realization and all these different things. Like, what do you have going on in your life? What are you here for? Do you want to stay here when the rest of your family has left? I like the idea of that. I like that it's a very solemn, you know, important, like, feeling story. But it just didn't resonate with me like it did with a lot of others. So I'm not sure if it was just me, or I don't know, it could be. So that's that. Yeah, 3 out of 5. So what would I think of the movie? Well, I think that the movie was a very good adaptation, and I say that in the way that, you know how a lot of adaptations really change the plot from the book to the movie? Not here. It's very, very similar. It's very close. If you enjoyed the book for, you know, if you thoroughly enjoyed the book, you will enjoy the movie. I think that they made some good choices as far as the actors and actresses in the movie. I could see those actors and actresses thinking back to listening to the book, and I always love when they make good character choices. So those are two things that I really appreciate about the movie. So they were spot on with the plot. Yeah, there were a little changes here and there, but there always are in a movie. And in my opinion, the actors they chose were pretty spot on as well. The problem I had with the movie was essentially the same problem I had with the book. It was the pacing. You guys, I invited my mom over and we watched this movie together, and she fell asleep. Yes, she fell asleep. I think she fell asleep probably 20 minutes in. And it wasn't late, you guys. It was like 5 in the afternoon. And to be quite frank, I probably would have fallen asleep had I not previously been vested in this story. I was looking for a lot of things in the book to correlate to the movie. So I think because of that, I was more aware of what was going on, and I was able to stay into it more than I would have had I not, for example, read the book. So as a person not reading the book, I totally could understand how someone would fall asleep. Overall, it was sort of boring. In this book, I did not get a distinctly dark feeling, but in the movie, almost all the scenes where it was either gloomy outside, raining, snowing, or it was dark. I mean, I don't think there was one bright day, maybe, no, take that back, maybe one or two bright scenes in this movie. Otherwise, the whole thing was dark or gloomy. And I think that kind of assisted in the gloomy down feeling of the movie, and just ultimately even added to the slow pace of the movie. So what would I rate the movie if I stay? I would rate the movie 2.5 stars out of 5. And I feel like while it matched the book pretty well, I wanted more out of the movie. After I finished the book, I thought, that was okay. Now let's see this movie. I wanted more. I wanted them, if they were going to make changes, I wanted them to be something substantial that would change the vibe or the pace or something. I wanted it to remedy something that I felt was lacking in the book, and it didn't. So, you know, with that said, you guys, if you love the book as is and you really had no complaints, I think you will enjoy the movie as well. But if you're like me and you thought the book was okay or had room for improvement or anything like that, just know the movie is pretty close. So I'm not sure you would necessarily like the movie any better than you like the book. So that's it, you guys. What did you guys think of If I Stay? Did you read the book? Did you listen to it on audio? Did you see the movie for If I Stay? If you did, let me know what you thought of them. Did you like the book more than the movie, or vice versa? Or did you not like either of them? Let me know. I'd love to hear your take on it, because you know I always like to hear different people's opinions. And it's so interesting how no two people read the same book, right? That's what the quote says, and it's true. What I listen to or read is not the same as what you listen to or read, because it's all perspective. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And until then, happy reading. Bye, guys.